As you have probably picked up, I am not in Portland right now. I am at the NBC Universal backlot here in LA, and I'm with the just revealed 2027 Chevrolet Bolt EV. If it looks familiar, it's because it is. It's been specifically designed to meet all of the needs of Bolt drivers, but with some really big enhancements to try and make it a more everyday, usable, drivable vehicle. So let's start with some of the specs, which is why I have my iPad out. I know I've done several videos recently where I've been off script and I'm just trying to bash through as many pieces of information as I possibly can. Now, you might notice this is not quite the same size as the original Bolt EV. That's because this model is based on the previous Bolt EUV, which was a little bigger, little different in its proportions. And now the Bolt will take up that shape. Inside, I've already had a little bit of a drive. It's very familiar. There are certain things I can't show you because this is a prototype vehicle, but we can tell you some important bits of information. We are told that the battery can charge from 10 to 80% in 26 minutes. And that's because the DC fast charging on this car is nearly 3 times faster than the old Bolt. So no more sitting at a charging station going, I would like more than 55 kilowatts, please. The other important thing is range. Everyone wants to know about range. It is going to have a target EPA range of 255 miles. The interior is fully customizable. The launch version of the Bolt, which is the RS variant, it's going to have a few styling tweaks that we've not seen before in the Bolt family. This one has a lovely electric sunroof. It's not a full-length sunroof, but like the Bolt EUV, there's an option to have that. You've also got the integrated luggage carrying capabilities there with the roof rack on top. We're also going to have Supercruise available, which is General Motors hands-off, eyes-up driver assistance technology. They're already being built at a GM production facility in Kansas City. And the price? Well, this is the interesting thing. Without federal tax incentives, because they don't exist anymore, GM is saying that the launch price, that's for the slightly higher spec, higher trim variant, is going to be $29,990 US. And the LT trim, which is going to be like the entry-level model when it comes out, is going to have a target price of $28,995 US. There's currently just one fly in the ointment. At the launch event, we were told that for now, this car is going to be produced in limited quantities. I don't know what that means. I haven't been able to get to the bottom of that yet. But look, let's get back in and do a bit more driving. I will try and give you some more of my impressions behind the wheel. Although I should note, we are driving on a private road, but a very busy private road with tour buses, with trams, with camera trucks. So I'm not going to be driving it at highway speeds. Let's get back in. So, Supercruise is not going to be, is it going to be on all the trims? Do you know, can you answer that?
I can't answer that today. For sure, our RS will include it.
Right. Hill assist, parking brake. The two things I want to know locations of. Parking brake is there.
Right.
And it's a 3D printed button. Is it a 3D printed button?
Like, let me see what version you have. It's probably
it's a
really
textured one.
No,
that's the real one?
That is correct.
That's interesting how it's got that.
So it's not chrome. Some of our other EVs have a chrome one.
Yeah.
It's all black.
We're now in the kind of the fake New York part of the lot. You can see some kind of New York-esque backdrops here. Some of these buildings are real, some of them, most of them are not. But what I can tell you that is real is a big important change that has been made to the Bolt for the new 2027 model year. Now, if you remember when the 2022-23 Bolts came out, they were highly criticized because GM moved the brake lights down here. And Some people said it increased the likelihood of accidents. Some people did have accidents. And some Bolt owners just went ahead and modified their cars to put the brake lights back up. I have a 2017 Bolt, so mine has always had the lights up top. And then when you open up the hatch, if you need to drive with the hatch open, on the early Bolts, these lights come into play. But for this model year Bolt, you'll see that part of the car is part of the light is attached to the actual vehicle. This is the brake light. It stays up top. Let's walk around the side here and you'll see that everything here is very familiar. You've got this lovely spoiler here at the back. You have a couple of cameras up top here for both your 360 and also to help with some of the semi-autonomous features. Bunch of sensors hidden all over. The wheels, again, normal sized wheels. Can we get I'm very happy that these are not like 20 gazillion inches. How big are these? Do they even have a size on them? I think they're like 17s. We'll have to ask. They're 17-inch wheels. I just got a thumbs up from one of the engineers. There's nothing oversized here, and that is really rare because normally when a car goes into its second, third, fourth generation, it just gets bigger and bigger and bigger. Technically, this car has a little bit because it's now the Bolt EUV size instead of the Bolt EV. But this is familiar. This is familiar. This is familiar. Look. And of course, no one has told me anything about light up emblems, but I would be very surprised if you won't be able to get one. But blame me if that's not the case, not GM, because no one at GM has told me that. Obviously, you've got the camera here for your 360. This is all very familiar. And one of the reasons why this car has been priced so low is because GM is reusing the things that it got right from previous vehicles, changing the things it needs to keep it current, and also working very hard to make sure that when you get behind the wheel, if you're a former Bolt or EV or EUV driver, this car feels familiar. And as you'll find out as we carry on, a lot of parts inside this car come from GM's part bin, which reduces costs and makes it more affordable.
But yeah.
The only thing I'm going to criticize is I do not like this new infotainment system.
The display of it? I'm curious, like what don't you like?
I want Android Auto and Apple CarPlay because at this price point, and I'm telling you this as someone who spent a lot of time in press vehicles, and everyone on my team, from our camera person to my co-presenter to our respective spouses, have all said, as soon as you have to kind of faff around in here,
okay,
and you don't have the same voice control that you have on your phone, it makes things less safe. So just being able to be able to say, hey, name of assistant,
but
can you do this? Google? Yes, but Google, all right, let's try it. Hey, Google. Hey, Google, find me a coffee.
I can't make it, but I have this coffee emoji for you.
I can't make it.
Now, so Google can improve, it would help to know how satisfied you are with my response. How would you rate it if 1's the worst and 5's the best?
1.
Sorry to hear that. What needs to be improved?
I'd like to
Just
find...
say cancel if you don't want to respond.
I'd like to find a coffee shop.
Thank you. Your feedback helps improve voice experiences.
There is a block party here at the lot for the rest of the evening. I don't know what else I'm going to find out, but it's definitely been a fun experience behind the wheel. Now, I'm going to be very, very brutal here. There is no way that I can tell you how this car drives or feels from a very low speed drive around the block, but I'm very grateful that I got the chance to do that because not very many automakers let people behind the wheel of a prototype car. Yes, it was controlled. Yes, there was a speed limit and all of the rules governing what we could or couldn't do. But if this is a good indication of what the finished production vehicle is going to be like, I think it's going to be a very interesting vehicle. I predict that if GM can stay true to that price, that headline price, can meet the expectations in terms of getting it into people's hands, And the limited run production isn't just 5,000 vehicles, it is actually a meaningful number, with GM then looking at it and going, well, maybe we'll make more. I think this is a very important vehicle. If, on the other hand, it's a nostalgia trip to keep existing Bolt EV owners happy when their first generation Bolts need replacing, and after 5 years, we're then looking at bigger cars like the Equinox, it's not great. Now, I have spoken behind the scenes, off camera, to GM employees who assure me that it's not the latter and is in fact the start of a new chapter for GM, the start of a new chapter where vehicles have to be smaller, where vehicles have to be more affordable, and where consumers are more budget-oriented and budget-conscious. And look, we're all living in 2025, and we all know that the cost of living has gone up. The thought of having a really expensive $60,000, $70,000, $80,000 electric car is beyond the scope for the majority of people and always has been. But now an increasing number of people are looking at $40,000 and $50,000 EVs, which used to be a fairly middle-of-the-road price point, and going, I need to pay my rent. I need to pay all my bills. And if GM can bring a sub-$30,000 Bolt EV to market and it delivers on all of its promises, I think GM's going to have trouble. Not actually trouble selling them, trouble making enough. Also, isn't this great? This is the location for The Good Place. Well, part of The Good Place was filmed here. I also think there was a Star Trek episode in Voyager involving Janeway and everyone else being forced to play to the death with Hirogen hunters. But I might be wrong. It might not be this location. But it's very cool. It's very peaceful. And interestingly, we were invited here today as owners. Both myself and Vi have Bolt EVs. Erin, of course, our animator, drives a Volt with a V. So we've certainly got enough Chevy points to be here as owners and people who know how these cars feel. So, your move, GM. Let's see if you can turn the make-believe into reality. This is the NACS inlet. It looks very familiar because it's basically a Tesla inlet. It's got the same button. I don't think it's automatically presenting. It looks just like it's a push button. So I don't think that button does necessarily anything, but it just fits in there. Now we're back at the block party and we've had a chance to chat with some of the GM team, and I wanted to let you know some of the important things that I wasn't able to tell you when I was driving this prototype Bolt EV around. First up, the vehicle weight. It's basically the same as the Bolt EUV. It's in the same class, the same testing class was what I was told. So there might be some deviation, but the vehicle itself is pretty much the same weight. All of the metalwork, all of the body panels is the same between the Bolt EV and the Bolt EUV that came before. The next thing that I want to really reiterate, though, is that everything else is pretty much different. GM has worked really hard to re-engineer the battery pack, to re-engineer the motor. The motor in the new Bolt EV is actually out of the Equinox EV. It has a different final drive gear ratio, but I've been told that it produces a little bit more power, a little bit more torque, but they're very much of a muchness compared to the previous Bolt and what we have here. That means you're going to get the same kind of driving characteristics as the original Bolt, and that's something that I definitely experienced in my very, very brief and very slow drive around the block. We also We also have some good news about the battery pack. Yes, it is LFP. It is 65 kilowatt hours of capacity. And that is the sweet spot, you know, that 255 mile EPA target range. It's really important to reiterate that for most people, 255 miles is more than enough for a whole week's worth of driving. That is not anything that GM has told me to say. That is me saying from experience that most people do not drive long distances. Our camera person, Vi, drives 70 miles a day. And that is very much way out of normal for your average everyday commuting distance. And so for most people, even if they don't have access to charging at home, you could still own this car and still charge it up at a Tesla supercharger or another NACS compatible supercharger. And look, I'm going to say about 150 kilowatts, 3 times nearly what the original Bolt EV had. That less than half an hour from 10 to 80% full is really super important. Now, of course, that's going to depend on how hot the battery is, how hot it is outside, the state of health of the battery, and all of that other good stuff. But we should also reiterate the fact that LFP cells are electrochemically far more stable than the NCM chemistry of the previous generation Bolt. So that's going to be a bonus as well. And like the rest of GM's electric vehicle lineup today, despite having a NACS inlet, this new Chevrolet Bolt EV will be capable of providing up to 10 kilowatts to power your home, as long as you have a compatible vehicle-to-grid or vehicle-to-home backup system. That is epic. It is the cheapest vehicle-to-grid capable EV on the market by a long way. I want to kind of close out here by thanking GM for covering our trip here. As a full disclaimer, GM covered our hotel and our meals here in LA. It also covered our hotels on our road trip down from Portland to LA in my wife's 2017 Chevrolet Bolt EV. And keep your eyes peeled, because there's going to be a whole nother video on the channel about that road trip. It's getting dark. That means we're not going to be able to film for much longer. So I'm going to sign off here. Thanks for joining me. And make sure you hit that subscribe button, eh?
Thanks for watching us today. You can connect with us on Patreon, Discord, Mastodon, Blue Sky, or through our website. Huge thanks to the amazing folks scrolling by right now. You're the reason we can stay independent and keep making content without corporate influence. And right now is a perfect time to join. Through September and October, we're running our autumn Patreon drive. Sign up and you'll not only support the channel, but you'll also get an exclusive piece of digital art from Erin. Want to see your name here too? Support starts at just $1.50 US a month, and you can even gift memberships. And of course, a massive welcome to our newest members: NYTMR, Chris Wright, C&K Adventuring, Andy Pyatt, Gerald Eden, Carlacos, Chip Chandler, Robert Nelson, 00 Critical, Tom Fagden, Barry 2379, Mike Coffeen, James River, Eric Knack, Hans Rose, DW, Meryl Fratkin, Kristen Rasmussen, MX Menivar Vargas, Stephen Nichols, Panther Legion, Kit Saprida, Bark Eater J, Jeff Good, Conrad Zalance, Frank Snyder, Jeffrey Smith, Tony Roberts, Matthew Frake, Jacqueline Cockburn, Fritz Coker, Trans Vegan Cyclist, Jade Diaz, Laura Shear Clark, Everett Garnett, Peter Broadwell, Jerry, Jeremy Redmond, Patrick Matthias, Pamela Not Pam, Dave Fry, Mark Anderson, Tal Hobson, C. Daniel Tideman, Martin May, Fee, Donovan, Date Downs, Matthew Buckar, Zach C., Taraki, Kathy Windandy, Alex, Patricia Connor, Lindy Melendez, Dameron Can, Gary Robotham, Dave Miles, Tina Polnish, Mark Kruger, and Tyler Walker. Thank you all for joining in the last month. You're helping us hit our goal of growing Patreon support by 20 to 40% this autumn. Prefer a one-off contribution? We've got Ko-fi, Bitcoin, and a PO box, our swag store, and even an Amazon affiliate link, so your money helps us, not Jeff Bezos. We post new videos every few days on the main channel, plus extras on Transport Evolved Take 2. And since YouTube comments aren't safe for us anymore, the best way to chat is through Patreon, Mastodon, Blue Sky, or our website. If you want more, the algorithm thinks you'll like this video, but we'd love you to check this one out too. Be awesome, be kind, be intentional, and never forget to resist. Keep evolving.